Chris, was Nate joining this one or do we have a substitute?
I thought Nate was joining this one, but let me send a little text out.
Okay.
He's actually stuck in meetings, so I'm covering for him.
Okay. Thanks, Kirsten.
You got it.
Yeah, just let me know when you're ready and we'll go ahead and get started.
I'm all set with streaming, so whenever you'd like to start.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call to order the Tuesday, January 30th, 2024 meeting of the Injured Employee Partial Permanent Disability Payment Working Group meeting. We couldn't come up with a longer name, so that was what we decided to call it. I first want to start out by thanking each and every one of you for your service to this working group. We greatly appreciate you volunteering your time. I think that it's been a very good discussion on both sides. I think both sides have some very good points. And we do have a proposal to discuss, but the proposal can be amended if we can agree on changes to it if there are certain things that aren't sitting with people. So again, on behalf of myself and Rep. Conley, we can't thank you enough for volunteering your time and participating in this. And you are all credits to your organizations. Rep. Conley, do you have any remarks?
I echo Representative Quinn's remarks. I know folks have really attended in earnest. Folks have been able to attend and volunteer for a variety of meetings and have some good discussions. We did get two proposals by committee members. One proposal was to make a lot of changes. Another proposal was to make no changes. So the chair's proposal is to make some changes that I look forward to our discussion and votes upon. Again, everyone's proposals were taken into great consideration and discussion so that we could talk about things. I also would appreciate, we did have volunteer presentations from vocational rehabilitation. I think we all learned a lot from that and hope to make some changes for more access to vocational rehabilitation. I think while we may not all agree on legislation, in this group, everyone does agree that vocational rehabilitation is a great service, and whatever we can do to get more injured folks using that service to get back to new skills and to get to new employment is something that we can all agree on, is something we can continue to work on.
Thank you. Then we'll start off with approval of the minutes of the January 16th meeting. If I could have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Rep. Conley, second. Bud Drapo. Any discussion, questions, changes, corrections on the minutes from January 16th? All right, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries, minutes are approved. All right, you have in your possession a proposal that Rep. Conley and I put together after considering all of the different points of view on this. Clearly, this does not reflect what everyone's thoughts were, but I think in some aspects it presents a good compromise. And building off of Rep. Conley's comments about how we all can agree on the importance of vocational rehab, we felt it was important to tie that to any additional benefits that might be offered for post-specific 308A. And you'll see that in there. So if someone has not applied or is not availing themselves of it, they wouldn't be eligible for the additional benefits. I mean, we think it's important that if an injured worker is showing an interest in trying to get back to work and using voc rehab to learn a new skill if they're unable to continue in their profession because of the injuries they sustained. We think that that was important and why we tied it to that. I think before we go any further, what I'd like to do is to get a motion to approve the final proposal, a second, and then everything that we do will be under the discussion, and then we'll take a vote. Marie, did you have something to add first? You're on mute.
Sorry,
There you
sorry.
go.
I do have just a couple questions, but
Sure.
from the way you phrased it, I guess that'll come after someone motions.
Yes.
Okay, and keep in mind, I'm just for the record, I'm going to abstain from any vote on the final product, but I do have a couple questions, so I'll wait.
Okay, that's fine.
I will,
Yes, Senator Kushner.
I'll make that motion. So moved.
I'll
Thank you. Second, Rep. Conley. Okay, discussion on the proposal. Marie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, please. I really just have two questions, and it's really just a process sort of thing. In section 2, 31308A, that language that says the administrative law judge may award an additional benefit up to twice the duration of partial permanent disability benefits awarded if the claimant has applied and met with a vocational rehabilitation counselor. I was wondering why the person is not required to be participating in vocational rehabilitation.
I think that, at least my thought process on that was that there are situations after the person has met with the vocational rehab counselor that they don't have anything to offer them. So that was my thought on that, but I don't have a problem with strengthening that language.
Yeah, I mean, clearly that's up to this committee and then the legislators afterwards. That was a question that I'm tossing out there for consideration. My other question, and this may be a little bit more concerning from the agency's point of view, is in section 3. We have discussed several times about, having a stipend like there was in years ago. I raised it at the time. I don't think there's been an answer to it. And that is, where are the funds coming from to fund these stipends? Is it expected that they will come from the agency, or is there going to be some other type of revenue stream for it? And again, that's just a question that I'm posing for the rest of this board to discuss.
Okay. I think that our thought process was that it would come from the agency, and then obviously the request would have to be made of the agency as part of the budgeting process, and funds would come through the budgeting process.
Well, I just want to keep everyone to keep in mind as you discuss this, that our funds obviously are not coming from the general fund. They come from assessments on employers. One of the things that the chairman has heard over and over again from the legislature is how pleased they are that rates have come down over the years. So clearly, if we're going to be responsible for funding the stipend, that's something that needs to be taken into consideration.
Okay. All right, thank you. Bud.
Yeah, in addressing Marie's last question, the statute seems to indicate that there's federal grant money that might be available for this purpose. And I have no idea how that works. And if I could address the rates going down, it's my understanding that that has far more to do with medical than with indemnity, that getting the opioid situation under control has greatly reduced the costs and of the system.
Yeah, that's true, Bud.
Yeah, Marie, and his point on the federal funding, can you comment on that at all?
I don't really know because there hasn't been a stipend for a long time. You know, Bud, Joe, has it been at least 10, 15 years since there was a stipend, right?
Yeah, and it may have been even longer than that because I'm not remembering any of my clients getting a stipend, and I go back 25 years.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I think it's probably been a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's 20, which usually means it's 25. So.
Would that have been something that might have changed with the 93 reforms?
No, I would say no to that because I distinctly remember claimants getting stipends in the late 90s.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. There was a fairly large public act change in 98, so it could have been there, but it was definitely after 93.
Okay. All right. Further discussion. Any amendments that anyone would like to make? All right, then. If there's no further discussion, then we will take a vote on the proposal as presented, and we'll do it by roll. Go ahead, Bud.
Well, I think Brooke raised her hand first, so.
Sorry, I didn't see Brooke. Sorry about that. I missed your hand.
Hi, thank you so much. I just wanted to mention that we submitted a joint statement and I wanted to make sure that you all received that.
Yes, and we did have it forwarded out as soon as I realized we had it. So I know it probably went out to everyone around 11:30, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Bud.
Yeah, and I just want to make a quick comment. And I can appreciate the authors of that statement saying that the system is fine, and supposedly there's numbers to back it up. I'm not sure I've seen those, and it makes sense to me only when I know who their constituents are and who they represent. So from that point of view, I get it, but you have to understand that this is the opportunity to reach a compromise, because if a compromise doesn't come out of this committee, what's going to happen is we're going to be pushing hard for legislation to be proposed, and there will be public hearings. And once that public hearing train starts rolling, the opportunity for the people in this committee to have a voice and to reach some kind of compromise is that opportunity isn't going to happen anymore. So I just wanted to make that point in that comment.
Yeah, and it's been my hope all along that whatever came out of this committee would be a compromise. I realize not everyone is going to get what they want, and I know that there were additional body parts that were contemplated, and Rep. Conley and I reduced it down to just a change in the neck rating and a change in the neck rating to match the number of weeks of a master shoulder, since so many of the shoulder and neck claims seem to intertwine. And obviously, there was an initial thought of doing more with the post 308A specific benefits. So I think that, a compromise of 2 times what the current statute is, with the provision of enrollment in vocational rehabilitation, I think is a fair compromise. But, you know, obviously, I'm not the czar here. And, you know, this is the opportunity to hear from everyone. So, Representative Ackert.
Thank you, Representative Quinn. Appreciate it. So the vote for this is not making statute. The vote for this is to move this forward for a committee to review and then have a public hearing. And then further dialogue on what may or may not even come out of this, correct?
Correct. Yeah, this is just a vehicle to go before the legislature. You know, this past term, Judiciary took this up, which is how we got here. But certainly there'll be discussions on the Committee of Cognizance, and you know, whatever comes forward, we'll have a public hearing and additional opportunities to make any changes to it.
And it'll be only Judiciary on this, I would imagine, right?
You know, probably something that Chairman Stastrom and Chairman Winfield and Chairman Kushner need to discuss. But, you know, I would certainly hope it would start in Judiciary, since this is where it came from. But I recognize the labor underpinnings to this as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any further comments on this? Yeah, go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, so I appreciate the chair taking the opportunity to review all the proposals and taking into account everyone's considerations. I think it's a fair proposal that you do. Does it do everything? No. Does it take care of every problem? No. But it takes care of some. And I think it's a fair approach that you've taken with the, for instance, the cervical rating, in terms of how you tied it in with the shoulder. I very much like the additional discretion. I know a lot of people don't believe in judges exercising their discretion appropriately, but I do. And that you tie it in with someone who is attempting to obtain rehabilitation, and if they deem to be that they're not candidates, then the judge will have the ability to decide if they want to award additional 308A or not. And as far as the funding is concerned, I think that's got to be left for another day. That the administration, that the commission has to ask for. They need to sit down with Division of Workers Rehab Services, find out how much more they need, and try to come up with something within their budget. And we certainly would support that as well. But thank you very much for your careful thoughts about this. And I appreciate Brooks' email this morning. I disagree with certain characterizations of it, but we'll just leave it at that and go forward with this. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nate. Colette?
Yes, thank you. Thank you all for the opportunity to be part of this. I do appreciate that. I did want to point out an additional item with respect to the benefits in Connecticut, and that is Connecticut General Statute 31349, which, as many of you on the call know, was in part eliminated for purposes of transferring cases to the Second Injury Fund, but what wasn't eliminated was the taking individuals as we find them in the paid or payable of prior permanent impairment, such that Connecticut is, as I understand it, one of the only states that pays permanency for pre-existing underlying conditions unless that permanent impairment was paid or payable as a result of either a prior workers' compensation claim or perhaps a motor vehicle accident. So that is something additional we should really look at, because I think there are additional benefits that Connecticut workers do avail themselves of.
Okay. All right, thank you. Further discussion? All right, then seeing none, we will proceed to vote by roll. And should I handle that or should I have the administrator handle that?
I'm happy to handle it if you'd like.
Okay, that would be great if you would, please.
All right, so the motion is to approve the final proposal. Representative Quinn,
Yes.
Representative Conley.
Yes.
Nathan Schaffner,
I'm sorry, yes, I'm here.
Joseph Passaretti,
No,
Senator Kushner. Senator
You
Kushner.
want to mute, Senator?
I thought I'd unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes. My vote is yes.
thank you.
Abstentions. Senator Sampson, Representative Acker,
Yes.
Marie Gallen Hall,
Abstain?
Roger Poe,
Yes.
Colin Hodnall,
No.
Colette Griffin,
No.
Bill Becker,
Yes.
Rick Foley.
No.
And if you'd announce the tally?
Final tally is 7 voting yea, 4 voting nay, 1 abstaining, and sorry, and 2 absent.
Okay. All right, then the proposal passes and will now work its way through the legislative process. And, I certainly hope that any of you that can attend a public hearing or submit testimony, please do that. And again, I can't thank you all enough for your time and consideration. And for my colleagues in the workers' compensation bar, I know we'll be seeing each other soon on something. But in any event, if there's nothing else that anyone would like to add, then I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Representative Conley, second, Representative Acker, meeting, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hi.
Motion carries and the meeting is adjourned. And again, thank you all very much for your assistance with this. We greatly appreciate it.